Today I'm going to be answering a very important question I've been getting for a few years now, and that is the Speedball Calligraphy Collector set actually worth it, or is it just a waste of money? Let's go ahead and roll that intro to find out. What's up guys, I'm J-Rod at battlebrawlerproductions, new channel. Welcome. We craft amazing comic book style illustrations, variety of different mediums, and today I'm going to be doing a deep dive look of the Speedball Calligraphy Collector set. A lot of people have been asking me for quite a while if this set is actually worth it or is it just overpriced. This answer may surprise you. Now this set can sell for a variety of prices depending on where you go. I have seen it as low as $52.49 on Amazon and as high as $69.99 at Michael's, where I got mine. However, I should mention that I did pay with a 50% off coupon, so I only paid half that price, and I thought that was pretty fair at the time, but I really want to do an in-depth look and go over what exactly comes in this 17-piece set. This set comes with 8 nibs, 3 dip pens, 1 quill pen, a special booklet for lettering, 3 calligraphy inks, and an ink cleaner, all in a very nice solid wooden box that has a pretty good aesthetic. I actually do really like the look of this set. I think it looks really good, and it just slides out right here, and we have our set that we just open up with the latch right here. And lifting up, we have our booklet, which we can put right in here, along with all of our pens, our inks, and this really nice solid foam that can come out. So let's go ahead and take an in-depth look at everything that really comes in the set. The first item we're going to look at real quick is the Speedball textbook. This actually is pretty cool because there's a lot of really good information for inking and lettering, but keep in mind, it's all from a calligraphy point of view, and it shows you how to form the letters. It also goes into the different parts of the letter anatomy. As someone who's studied graphic design for 3.5 years, this is really fascinating to me. I do like the shape and design of letters. While I do have terrible handwriting, like legendarily bad handwriting, the actual art of constructing signs and letters and visual information, which is ultimately what comics and illustrations are too, really fascinates me. And I do think this is actually a really cool book. It shows you what you're capable to do with the nibs included, and it also shows some different exercises and things you can use. And I even like this little part here that has some illustration work in the back. So overall, this is actually a pretty solid, nice little book that fits really solidly into the set right here. You can even display it on the top so you can have a really nice kind of look to everything, which I really do appreciate. Next in the set are our dip pens. We have a quill along with 3 different types of dip pens. Now, just to clarify, the difference between a quill pen and a dip pen are the types of nibs. So your quill pen will take a smaller size nib, while your dip pen, like these guys, will take a larger size. Now, what's really interesting is that these are the standard dip pens that Speedball has. I think they're available in almost every set they make. I have some at my desk. I've been using them for years. These are really good, super durable. I've never had to replace mine. Some people have because they broke the metal nib inside because they didn't properly clean it, but it's always nice to have a couple of these because you never know if you might need one, if you want to just kind of do some rapid fire inking and you want to use different types of inks in a piece, or you want to give them to a friend to get them into inking. But putting these to the side and moving on to these unique dip pens, which we haven't seen on the channel. This is just kind of a different style of dip pen. You can see that the way that the nibs clip in are completely different, but it's just kind of a different body dip pen. I personally am not a big fan of these. I don't like how smooth it is. I like the fact that this one here has some curves to it so I can really hold on to it much better, and it just feels a little more natural. So there's that one there. I will say I do like this design. It's super cool. And then we also have a calligraphy pen. So the calligraphy pen's a little strange. If you notice, it has this piece right here that does pop off, and yeah, you can't put a nib in there. You actually put the nib in this contraption here, and so this contraption is going to have the nib come at an angle, which will make certain lettering techniques far easier. The 8 nibs in this set really surprised me because these 4 right here are for calligraphy, while these 4 right here can be used for illustrations. And I think that's really cool that they actually did a 50-50 split instead of mostly focusing on the calligraphy. Now this is an A5, B6, C2, and C3, which are really good solid calligraphy nibs. You can use them for more cartoony work and for illustration work, of course, but they're really meant to be used to create really cool fonts and do really awesome calligraphy. While these right here are going to be more your standard nib. This right here is a copper nib, which has a much softer plastic, so your lines are much more difficult to control, but you can get some really cool effects. They're often used in cartography sets. This is my actual favorite nib right here, 512, which is currently on my dip pen. I use this all the time in so many videos, and it's a really solid illustration nib, included in their sketch and drawing set. This right here is the 513, which is just a slightly larger version, so you can get some bigger lines and also hold a little more ink because of the bigger surface area. And this is the only quill nib included in the set, which is the 102, my personal favorite one, and is the nib that I use all the time in my quill pen. All of your dip pen nibs fit nice into your dip pen, and it doesn't matter which one you have, these will all fit, so you can see right here in the calligraphy one, we get that weird angle I was talking about, and in this more fancy one, they slide really nice and tight. I actually really do like the solid connection, though it's easy to move this top part right here to cause some issues and misalignments if you're not careful. Just wanted to point that out. And of course, here is our quill pen, which is incapable of taking these nibs here, so we have to use the only nib that's included for that right in here. And there you go. And that's how you do them. You just take them out and you can switch however you want. Now, of course, this set is really cool because it gives you quite a few different pens to really play with and set up, and I do kind of like that, but at the same time, I really don't feel the need to include this one if you have these three here. I feel like you don't need to, but they must have did it just because it is a collector set, so you gotta include one of everything. I am a little disappointed we didn't get more nibs. I mean, it's a good selection, don't get me wrong, and 8 nibs is really nice, but I felt like we should have gotten at least one of every nib they make because there's a few in here that they don't include that I think would have been really nice. Now, this set includes 3 calligraphy inks, black, red, and blue. 2 of my favorite colors, plus another color I really like. So I won't complain about the color choice, but I will complain that they're calligraphy inks. Now, you're probably thinking this is a calligraphy collector set. Well, yes, but calligraphy inks are more formulated for fountain pens, and this set does not include a fountain pen. It includes dip pens and a quill pen. And the thing about it is, while yes, calligraphy nibs do tend to perform a little better with calligraphy ink, it's not that much of an improvement, and in my opinion, the calligraphy inks just have too much of a drawback compared to India inks, Sumi inks, or even acrylic inks. And the main reason is because these are incredibly thin and not waterproof, meaning you can't use them with watercolor or mixed media work. And again, that's not a fault of the ink itself because it's formulated for fountain pens, which are extremely, and I do mean extremely finicky. Even inks that aren't waterproof can't be put in a fountain pen if they're not formulated or if they're too thick. So they are quite fragile in that aspect, and a lot of people use fountain pens to do calligraphy work nowadays. So I'm not faulting calligraphy ink itself, I'm faulting Speedball for putting calligraphy ink in this set, because why would you do that? You have a really solid India ink, pretty good. I mean, it's very unique because it is built in enamel, so it can stick to almost any surface, and it has a really good solid black to it that if you add a couple dyes would color really well. So it's just a little disappointing that they went this route. I will applaud them for including a pen cleaner, which is really nice. For me personally, I would say it's not totally needed, but it's a nice little thing to have. One thing about cleaning your nibs is that if you clean them the same day you use them, under hot water, pull them out of the pen, never wash the nibs with the pen, pull them out first, wash them thoroughly, and then dry them with a paper towel. Continue that process and get in a good habit of cleaning your nibs, and they will last you 3 to 6 months. So while not totally needed, I do appreciate them including it. And lastly, the box, which I do think is a pretty important part of the set because this is how you're going to display it, and it's a pretty good solid little wooden box. I don't know if it's real wood or if it's that artificial like pulp wood. I don't know the specifics on that, to be honest, but it's pretty nice. My only complaint is that it doesn't have little stoppers. That would just kind of give it that little extra premium feel. It also rattles, and that's not because I left anything in it, it's just because of the hinge mechanisms, but you can pop it open, and as you can see, looks super good. I really do like this foam layout, that everything fits nice and clean. My grandfather would actually make his own foam layouts for camera parts out of suitcases, and it was really cool because he would cut the foam with a wire, and that kind of reminds me of that. You can even take the foam out if you want to do your own custom layout. I'm sure someone has done it, or someone on Etsy sells it, though I don't think you're supposed to do it because you can see they didn't put the foam all the way, but as you can see, they didn't need to. It is a little bit of a pain to get it back in, but I do think this is a pretty solid wooden box. I just wish it had stoppers, maybe even a little bit of a gold trim just to add that little premium feel, because it is a little bit bland with just the gold latch and the little hinges right here. Either way, I do think it's a good little box, and let's go ahead and do my final thoughts on this, because I really do think this is a good set, but it really depends on the price you get it and what you're going to use this for. Factoring in the cost and everything that's included, I in all honesty can't recommend this for people who want to do comic style illustration artwork like I do, mainly because while it does come with a lot of nice tools, they're really too focused on calligraphy work to take advantage to do some really cool illustrations. I also wouldn't recommend this to people who have a passing interest in calligraphy. Yes, it gives you everything you need to get started with, but it's a pretty high commitment, and if you don't like it, well, you're kind of screwed. However, if you're someone who is super into calligraphy and you have a couple tools, I would definitely recommend this. It doesn't hurt to have some extra pens lying around. Trust me, I have like 3 of these Speedballs, including this one right here, and I think 4 quill pens somehow. I don't know how, I just do. It's also nice to have extra nibs, and the book is a pretty good resource to have. I also think this is a really solid gift to someone who is a graphic design artist or someone who actually does lettering by hand. Seriously, this looks really cool, and I can see this fitting in home in a really nice office display or in a really nice studio. So it really depends on what you're going for. A gift, definitely. I think it's really solid. For someone who is really passionate about calligraphy and lettering and they want to commit to the art form, absolutely. But with that said though, it is still a pretty high price range, and if you can get it for like $30, $32, I think it's actually worth it. I did the math and I found something really interesting. Speedball sells a dip pen, quill pen, and 6 nib set for $12.02 non-tax. They also sell a 1 pen, 1 ink, 1 ink cleaner, and 1 nib set for $8.99. Let's go ahead and add another one of those to our math equation because we're going to try and match the contents that's in here, which will give us exactly 4 inks, 3 dip pens, 1 quill pen, and also 8 nibs, which came out really clean, giving us a grand total of $30. Now, if you were to purchase this collector set at its lowest listing at $52.49 and subtract that from the number that we came up with, you would get a difference of just over $22, meaning that the cost of the wooden box and the book comes to just over $22. Now, I purchased this set at Michael's, like I said, for $60 with a 50% off coupon, so I paid just a little over $35 including tax, meaning I paid just a little over $5 for the book and the wooden box, which, when you put it that way, isn't that bad at all. I do think that's a really good saving and price point to get it at. Do I recommend purchasing this set for over $40? No, absolutely not. I think $52 is still a little high, but if you can find it for $40, I think it's a really good purchase, especially if it meets the needs that I mentioned before. So overall, this set is not for everyone. Heck, it's not for me. It's quite niche. It's a little overpriced. I will say if you can find it on sale, this is a 7 out of 10 to get if it meets all things that you need that I mentioned in the video. And if you're wondering why I didn't make any art with this set, guys, it's Speedball. You can literally watch almost any video I've made and I'm using their products. They're really good, solid dip pens, and they pretty much own the market for dip pens in the West, which is a discussion for another video. But I'd love to hear your guys' opinions in the comment section down below. Do you guys have this set? Do you like it? Are you thinking of purchasing it? Did I clear up any questions you had on it? I love to hear your guys' feedback. It really does help. And even though I didn't do any artwork, please let me know what you guys think of the video, because that also helps me become a better content creator. Stay tuned for more art and animation-based content. And remember, I'm Jay Rod of Battlebrawler Productions. I draw a power my own soul, and thank you all so much for watching.